Did you elect Trump? Did you elect him? The answer is no. As they are doing, we must also do. We are here because people elected us. And we are not answerable to any member of Congress. Getting peace is primary. People want to turn our country upside down. And we are looking at it as a joke. Day in, day out, a parliamentarian in Congress will make a whole contingent of federal government go there. Member of Congress, that is an equal of number of house. One person.
Member of a subcommittee.
Did you elect Trump? Did you elect him? The answer is no. As they are doing, we must also do. We are here because people elected us. And we are not answerable to any member of Congress. And we should not. But we can partner. We can partner. If they want to hear from us, they should hear from us. If we want to hear from them, we can hear from them. I've been to the Congress 3 times. I've been to UK Parliament 3 times. All on equal pedestal. Therefore, we must know our honor, our dignity. People will think that we have no standing. We have standing. We are the largest country in Africa and the biggest black nation on the face of this, and therefore, leadership must be provided. Let's just look inwards. Let's put our acts together, and then we dare any outside power. But we have to put our acts together. Where the leadership comes begging, we must make it right. Where they need to be commended, we must commend them. The Nigerian people we must inspire them to believe what we are saying. Every day we talk like this, we talk like this. You go to the media, you go to the press, it's all talk. And that is true. But we need to change these things. Mr. President, I pray that in one of the prayers, we'll give a 1-minute silence on behalf of these murdered police officers. And I represent Bauchi, Center of Bauchi State. Mr. President, this is not an interesting time in this country. And Mr. President, for those who follow social media, particularly the Senate Forum, when Onanuga, the president's spokesman, wrote that the president has canceled his trip to South Africa and Angola, I was the very first person to forward that to our forum, to our platform, and went ahead to say, this is the right thing and the proper thing, and therefore is commendable. I'm not an APC man. Mr. President, at times like this, moments like this, when you honestly see very clear design by some foreign powers to take over the affairs of this country, if you're a Nigerian, and a decent Nigerian, and a patriotic Nigerian, and you think that does not matter, I think you need to question your patriotism. You need to question your citizenship. Mr. President, at this point in time, what we require is a collective concern. This is not a military regime. This is a democratic regime where in the military you say the box stop on the table of the president. This is democracy. The box stop not only on the office, at the desk of the president, the box also stopped on the table of the Senate president at the head of legislature. Now, following from what Sani Musa said, you see parliamentarians, the affects lawmaking body in Nigeria is the Senate. And Mr. President, you see us asking ourselves, looking for possible answers. Mr. President, the standing committees were not created for ceremonies. the standing committees were created to answer some of the questions arising from what senators are asking. Mr. President, we cannot sit here and security questions were raised as to what happened in Kebbi. Why did it happen? Who are we asking? Don't you have Army Committee? Who are we asking? Don't you have Navy Committee? Who are we asking? Don't you have Defense Committee? Who are we asking? Don't you have Security Committee? Mr. President, it is abnormal. And for me to sit here and begin to see my colleagues raising questions that we are the ones to provide answers for. Mr. President is just one president, elected there and the vice president. We are all elected. We are all accountable to the people. Just like Mr. President is elected, we are also elected. And we are also accountable to our constituents. But Mr. President, we need to rejig how we do things. We need to tell ourselves the home truth. Mr. President, it's just like a mirror. You put a mirror in your front, you see yourself, breaking the mirror will not change that image. No matter how you do, what you see is what you get. What you are is what you get. Mr. President, we need to be proactive, and we need to come with a very clear perspective how to deal with these issues. Mr. President, you and me discussed yesterday that the widow of late Uba said nobody talked to her after her husband was gunned down. Nobody has communicated to her. Who are we going to ask to ask? Are we going to tell the president to call commander-in-chief to ask? Or are we not having committee of the army here that will call the people? Look at this interview by Mrs. Uba, Musa Uba. What did you do and what did you not do? We learned from Governor of Kebbi State that officers were withdrawn. And we lament. Are we not having standing committees that are supposed to call these people? What did you do? And we keep passing the ball from Maradona to Pele. It is not going to work for us. Mr. President, just yesterday, 5 police officers, 3 of whom I know personally, were called broadly murdered in my constituency. What was the fault? They went to separate a fight between bandits and farmers. And these gentlemen were called broadly murdered. Mr. President, by your leave, I will have the honor to call the names of these officers. They were so brutally killed, not in the night. Not in the night. Broad day. They were summarily murdered because they were not carrying Spiro weapons. Only one of them was carrying AK-17. The other was carrying a Vision. AK-47. AK-47. Only one of them, the DSP. And the names of these officers, I will call their names. This is the reality of Nigeria. DSP Ahmed Mohammed, killed. Assistant Superintendent Mustafa Mohammed, killed. Inspector Amahil Yunusa, killed. Inspector Idris Ahmad, killed. Corporal Isa Muazu, killed. In my constituency, local government Darazo. Mr. President, you can imagine the agony that these families are undergoing. Mr. President, in the time past, we're having some of the best military formations, military officers We are having some of the best police officers and police formation all across the globe. In fact, at a particular time, Major General Agwai got an outstanding honor as one of the best serving general in Africa. And today, Mr. President, did you ask yourself whether the Agwais and the Dambados of those years and several, the Njumas, several of them that are still alive, whether anybody has called these officers to say, please, gentlemen, where did we miss it? Why were we the very best military country in Africa? Why were we the best police country in Africa? And why are we here? So it is a collective endeavor, Mr. President, and as long as we continue to see kidnapping as just a crime, we're not going anywhere, because kidnapping has so much been commercialized. People are leaving their jobs in cities and villages, and kidnapping now is one of the best paying jobs in Nigeria, all across. In fact, kidnapping now pays more than oil. Kidnapping pays more than sitting as a senator or sitting in the villa. And therefore, as lawmakers, what do we need to do? We now look at kidnapping and say we must amend our laws to say kidnapping is a terrorist act and must therefore be treated as such and must therefore carry the death penalty. And that is some of the ways we have to go. Mr. President, the entire security architecture of our country we need just to sit down. It is not about talking in plenary here. It is not talking about one committee or the other. We must be able to find out. It's not about just national security. Every committee that needs to answer his name must answer his name here in plenary or in executive session. And therefore, going forward, most of the questions arising from our colleagues is not to the president, it's to ourselves. And therefore, the Senate Leader Office, with the understanding of the SP, must find a way in a situation like this, before we even peruse to the matter in details, we need to raise the chairman of committees to give us a synopsis of what they do, how they do it, and then following from that, then we can give our opinion, our recommendation, the way forward, the way this. But if every day we come here and we do some of these things that we only do it probably to appease our constituents, but the matter is not solved. Appeasing our constituency is just secondary.